Welcome, everybody. My name is Matthew, and what we're going to be covering off today is how do we unleash your software company's marketing and sales playbook. So playbooks are really an interesting thing. This is something that a lot of very large companies do. If you go ahead and Google HubSpot or any of the big businesses that really understand that the whole point of a sales and a software company or a market or a technology company is to actually have that sales and marketing function working really well, because that's what actually creates that scale and that drives the revenue. So welcome to today's webinar. My name's Matthew Whyatt, if you haven't figured that out already. I really love doing these sessions because they create an opportunity for me to teach what I've learned over 24 years of owning software and technology businesses. I started my first one when I was 22. So if you do the math, you figure out how old I am. It's no big deal. But really what I've done in that time over the course of those years is I've always been the sales and marketing person, always worked with amazing technologists, customer service, finance, general managers, operations people. But all of those people really understood, well, in the businesses that I've owned for the last 23 years, we've always said that, we can have the greatest of everything, but if we don't really nail this sales and marketing piece, we're just going to miss a lot of opportunities. Can we succeed in business by not having great sales and marketing? Look, probably. If your customers love you so much that every single week you're getting referrals, you can show up to a hell of a lot of networking meetings and shake a lot of hands and kiss a lot of babies, as they say in politics. But really, the point here is we want to give you the control, whereas referrals are out of your control. Over servicing your customers is great, but it's out of your control in the sense that that customer is going to go ahead and buy from you next year. It's likely. But if you don't do something new and different, you're not going to break new ground. You're going to find or discover new customers in the marketplace. And your competition are always working to drive greater levels of engagement, greater levels of trying to snap at your heels. They're trying to take your market share. So it's really important. And if you're a startup, if you're early stage, if you're in that point where you've got some sales, you've some traction, you've got friends and family who've bought from you, or close associates, they've bought from you. Now it's time, and now it's time to actually go ahead and really find new ground. So welcome, everybody. That was a bit of an intro. See the Q&A section on the left-hand side of your screen there. So that's what I'm looking at now. If you've got any thoughts, comments, questions, ideas you want me to jump into and talk about, I love getting that audience interaction. We're going to go for about 45 minutes today. There is an offer at the end. Obviously, wouldn't be a webinar without it, but the offer is for something that's not going to cost you anything. So there is that. And what I found in those sessions, those one-on-one sessions, is it's really, really valuable, because I love getting in the nitty-gritty and getting right down into it. So grab the if you can find the question box there, put your questions in there, and we'll get started. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're unleashing your sales and marketing playbook. Now, I've written playbooks for businesses, and my company's written playbooks for businesses over the years. These things are 30 to 35 pages. They talk about everything inside the business, from how you position all the way through to the words you use in an email to follow up after the second call. So really complex. Now, I'm not going to go into that detail. We've only got an hour. But what I'm going to do is talk about the main things in that make up a playbook. And the title of this is Actionable Insights. So I mentioned to people who are early in helping with my sound and video check is that I want you to make sure that you are, well, you don't have to do it. You can use this, this can be like TV for you. But if you want to get value out of it, grab a pen and paper, write down the areas you think that you are slightly deficient in and what you might need polishing up on. Right, let's get into it. So who's the webinar for? Who is this for? So I'm looking at the list of attendees here, and I know some of you, lots of new faces as well. But really, who's it for is heads of software and technology companies who got to grow their business, who are tired of the uncertainty and fluffiness around sales and marketing. And also, they want a precision process that it's measurable and delivers. So most of the time, the old adage that marketing only works 50% of the time is just, you just don't know which 50% that is. Salespeople, it's all more art than science, and all these other things that are not really true. We want to make sure that we cut through that. Now, I've owned and run technology businesses for 23 years. Everything is measurable. Everything, once you measure it, then you can start managing it. And I know any GM in the room here will know that if once you measure it, you can manage it, and you can actually start having quality conversations about it. Often what happens is we're really good at building amazing technology, working with really large organizations, but we're not measuring successfully the right numbers. Measuring activity, this is interesting. Measuring activity is not the right measure. It's a measure, but it's not the one that's going to drive sales and sales in particular. Sales is a skill-based role. It's not an activity-based role. So just doing more activity is actually, in some cases, it's going to get you somewhere closer, but it's not going to get those great deals over the line. Filling out your CRM. Now, I love CRMs. I use them every day, but filling out your CRM is not going to get you more sales, but it's an important tool. So I'm a little bit, I guess, I go against a lot of the current traditional or accepted wisdom of sales and marketing, because typically what happens is those people who are great at sales make really ordinary managers. And then people who do manage sales teams, they want to look at the numbers, and that's fine, but the numbers don't tell the whole story. And I've worked with great salespeople who are terrible at filling out um, uh, CRMs, terrible at doing paperwork. And I have a very good friend of mine who was working for one of Australia's largest property developers, and he didn't get his bonus because he didn't. He was the national sales leader, but didn't get his bonus because he didn't fill in all the paperwork perfectly, and the secret shopper didn't get the love and care and attention, even though he said, "Hey, you're a secret shopper, and I've got real customers over here." That secret shopper felt sad about that, put in a bad report about him. He, of course, didn't get his bonus. That company missed out on more than $1 million of extra revenue that guy was actually generating. So think about the fact that sales and marketing, sales in particular, is a skill-based role, not necessarily an activity-based. So, and I'm going to talk to you about all of that and how we can measure it and how we can really do a much better job at that. So, what are the three key areas we're talking about today? I speak very quickly when I'm excited, so I'll bring it down. We're going to talk about your market. Why in your market, less is more. And I'll talk about why that's important. Your marketing mix. Look, it's a lot harder to get anywhere with only one paddle. And just a mental picture of, a group of people in a boat, one paddler. It's not going to go very far. You can get somewhere, but it's not very far or very fast. And of course, your sales process. And this is the part that a lot of salespeople don't love to hear, or businesses don't love to hear, is discipline equals freedom. And discipline equals freedom in the sense that if you don't follow the process, you're going to be in trouble, right? Let's get into it. So I just want to bring your attention to a couple of things that clients have said about us and our business. Is the top left-hand one there is the changes since you've come on board are phenomenal. Before, a prospect was anyone who would talk to us. So just take a moment and think about that. Is a prospect in your mind anybody that'll talk to you? Often it is, and I know that I can see some of you saying yes. And I love interaction, by the way. If you want to give me a thumbs up or a high five or whatever emoji you feel comfortable using, just put that in there as well. We now have a clear picture of which buyer personas and which types of firms are best matched to us. So the person and the business, they got to match together. And a clear direction of how to engage with every one of them. So clearly engaging with people. Bottom right one there is we used to give as much to possible as prospects. So giving lots of value. How much can we tell you about the process? We're going to use a SQL database with this type of API and all in the weed stuff. They really miss the point of the fact the client typically doesn't care what technology you use. They want to sit at a point where they actually have solved the problem, and really all that stuff is there. We want to know that you can have some know-how about it, but we don't actually care how it's being delivered. So buyer-centric selling is a completely different approach. So this is the approach that we want to give and provide to customers. So number one, if you remember back previous slide, is about your market. So how do you stand out in your market? So how you stand out in a crowded market is by hyper narrowing down who your customers are. Now, traditionally, marketing agencies, or if you Google it, you'll find that, you need to look at, who, what, when, where type of profiling. So if you were to think about males born in England, if you were selling B2C, now I know not many of us, actually, quick question, how, are you selling B2B or B2C? Just put that in the comments section. I'd love to know what mix we've got going on here. So are you B2B or B2C? Just on the left-hand side in the Q&A box, please. So B2B, B2B. Yep. Okay, great. So let me just see there. Yep, everybody here is B2B. Okay, cool. Are there any B2C people? No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. So I'm talking to the right audience because I'm B2B and all of my clients are B2B as well. Although we did approach one particular market like B2C, but I won't go into that just right now. We had to take a different spin. We've got those skills, but we typically do B2B. So how do you stand out in a crowded market? Think about your name, age, rank, serial number, the normal types of high-level marketing. So if you were to think of, males born in the UK, married twice, living, reasonably wealthy, you'd think of a particular person. But if you only went as deep as that, you would have these two people as your customers. So, we've got good old Prince Charles, and born in 1948, raised in the UK, married twice, lives in an enormous residence and pretty wealthy and famous. Everybody knows who he is. Same with Ozzy Osbourne. Now, I know I've used this slide before. I just love it. The thing is, though, the desires of these two men probably pretty different. The enthusiasm for calfskin leather riding boots is probably one more than the other, and the other one for gold chains and crosses. So think more deeply about your customers, and I'll show you exactly how to identify and how to know your market better. Okay, so know your market. Clarity is the key. Okay, so are you absolutely clear on your best fit clients' needs? What do they need? Now, it's not just what you're selling, because what you're selling and what they need might be two different things. Or you're positioning a enterprise data warehouse, and they don't want that. They want reports on time at the end of the month in a particular format. Now, because we're in technology, we might be able to see the link between those two things, but not everybody can. So we need to make sure we're selling what they want to buy, not what we've got to sell. What makes them buy? What makes them a fit for you? So the key area here is the ideal clients are always best fit for your product, service, and company, and the reverse is true. So if somebody's not a good fit, they're not going to be ideal. They're going to find themselves in a B or a C class category. So I like to think of clients in A, B, C. And that's not good, average, worse. They are A for absolute, B for beneficial, C for convenient. The absolute best clients, they typically they pay on time, they refer you. They're the type of customer that they would feel sad if they ever thought about leaving you, let alone the fact that they wouldn't want to leave you. You give a great high level of service. They pay a good amount of money. The next level down is good trade and exchange. They provide good. They don't bog down customer service or help desk, and they also pay well. They pay on time. But C is for convenient. Now, a lot of SaaS businesses fall into the trap of thinking that they can sell. We can approach this entire market. The total addressable market, the TAM total addressable market, is 1 million. We're going to get half of them or 5% of them, whatever the made up number is. But they don't realize that a lot of those people are going to be convenient customers. They might pay the monthly fee, but they're going to bog down level 1 support or your customer support so heavily that actually they're going to be not profitable. They're going to bug your sales wheel. They're going to bug you, and you're actually going to find yourself in a situation where there's no real value exchange there. Actually, the value exchange goes the other way. That's just too hard. And in my businesses, I have given people back their money if they turn out to be too hard. Here's your money back. Thank you very much. Find another agency, find other people to work with. And that level of strength comes from knowing the long-term negative effect of a bad customer. All right. So This is the action step. Now, you don't have to write these down. If you want, you can screenshot it, but really I'll show you a better slide you can screenshot, or you can just email me afterwards and I'll send it to you. But, we want to list out the 5 clients who meet the above. They are best clients. They are best fit for us. And they are the type of customer we'd like to have a sit down and socialize with. They're good people that we want to work with. Because remember, you've all said that you're B2B, but actually you're H to H, human to human. No one business sells to another business. Business is just a conglomeration of people. You sell to people. So we need to know that, and then we need to exploit that or work with that. So here's the table that we want to work with. Write down the organization names. What do they have in common? Vertical size, location, complexity. Now, this is so what they have in common is the type of thing you'd be able to find on LinkedIn search or a Zoom info search. Why they chose you last time. So why did they choose you? And if you're not entirely sure, if you say things like we're better, faster, cheaper, well, you know what? Phone up your clients. Say, hi, we're undertaking a new strategy. I wanted to really understand and get inside the minds of our best clients. And you're absolutely bubbled up as an existing, one of our existing best clients. Look, cast your mind back to when we first engaged, when you first contacted us, or when we first contacted you. What was actually the problem that you're experiencing at the time? And why did you choose us? You will get some amazing answers, and those answers are the core and key ingredient to your next marketing campaign. And you know how much that costs you to find out? Nothing. 5 minutes of your time talking to a customer you like to talk to. It's only win-win. And you know what? By you calling them, telling them they're a high-value customer, and asking their opinion, they will be more enthusiastic about working with your business ongoing. So that's a little, not even a trick, just something. Service your customer, ask for their insight. You'll be amazed at what you get. Always. Event that triggered the need. This is really interesting. Has there been a legislation change? Has there been a change of CIO? Has there been a new contract to come on place? Has somebody moved out of a job or moved into a job? One of my customers right now, one of the key areas that actually is an indicator that they need to buy or potentially could be a buyer is a role change at that senior level. Because senior level role changes, often they'll say they want to make their mark. Yes, they probably will want to make sure they get their feet under the desk, but you need to start providing value, ideas, thoughts to them, thought bubbles, so they can start percolating on that stuff. And then when they are ready, they can come to you and work with you. That's about account-based marketing rather than just a straight up, we've got a thing and they buy it. Most people in B2B know that account-based marketing is really where they need to be. They need to know who their best customers are and surround those people with high value content. So competitors that you beat, know who you beat. That's really important. I'm constantly blown away that businesses don't know who their competition is, who their real competition is. You might be able to Google who else is in managed services in Brisbane, but who did you actually beat? Do you beat the fact that their in-house system was broken, their current consulting team was underperforming, and then vulnerabilities now? What are the vulnerabilities in those businesses? Vulnerabilities in relation to people, process, product, price. All right. Lots to think about there, but as I said, actionable insights. This is not TV. So you've got to now know your buyer and their problems. We know who they are. We know we know who they are. Now we've got to get inside their head. This guy's clearly got some problem with caffeine. It's a lot of coffee. So marketing effectiveness. Do you know what makes your buyers and decision makers and influencers really tick? Not broad terms. What is a CIO interested in? Oh, they're interested in these things. But the ones in your industry. Are you selling to a construction industry, businesses over $100 million a year worth of revenue? What's that CIO care about? Well, they care about a very specific set of things that a CIO in a transport company probably won't care about. Okay, so think about really clearly understanding your target market and then who they are in those markets. So a really great way, and I said this to a customer about 6 months ago, 8 months ago now, and they actually asked me to stop and think about that and really they were quite blown away by the obviousness. And when people say something really true, it's true because you should have thought of it yourself. Okay, this is what you should have thought of yourself. And you probably, if you already have, let me know in the comments below if you've already thought about this. But my client was particularly excited by the idea, and that's why I wanted to share it with you today. Is, have you ever thought about their jobs and the criteria on which they're judged? So a great way to do that is go on to Seek or Monster or whatever the employment platforms are. Type in the role that you sell to. So if you sell to CIOs and logistics companies, go look for jobs for CIOs and logistics companies in businesses of the same size. You'll find a couple, and you'll find some archived as well. And you know what that's going to happen? You're going to have a long list of your role, your duties, you have these types of experiences, you have this type of understanding, you've got this type of history, this is your KPIs. Like, it gives you everything. And this is the business telling the CIO what they need to do. So right now, if you don't already know and haven't looked at it recently, and you know who you sell to, the role, going on to Seek or find that job title being advertised for somebody else, and you will get an incredible insight of what they're measured against and how they're measured. So do that, please. If you want to understand the person behind the role, if you understand the person, the buyer persona in marketing terms, it's going to be easy to satisfy and convert them into a client, because now you're going to have a really clear understanding of what they are measured on. So buyers of technology, just like you, they have roles, responsibilities, hopes, and fears. Now, once again, you don't have to write this down. I'm going to show you the next page. So we want to get the 3 fears that keep them awake at night, the 3 alternatives that they can choose, the drawbacks of those alternatives, and how you remove those fears and overcome those drawbacks. Okay, so now you're going to go think about, okay, the CIO has these 3 things, these 3 problems. What can they choose if they didn't choose me? That requires some deep thinking. This is going to require some effort as an actionable insight. And then what if they choose to build an in-house? What if they go, well, you know what, we've got Excel and we've got SharePoint, we're just going to do some things with that. Sure, that seems like it's free, but it's not. It takes time and effort and energy, and those macros being written inside that Excel is, that guys or girls are away for the end of month, and things go sideways fast. So please think about how you can position your solution for ease and for that person, making sure that they're going to hit their KPIs. So here's the grid. So we've got a CIO here. The alternative, everybody's CIO's first port of call is an in-house. We'll build it ourselves. We'll employ somebody. We'll get a consultant. Some version of we'll build it in-house. So the 3 questions keeping them awake at night is, how do I ensure my releases are on time? How do I keep costs and delay down? And how do I show initiative and keep my job? Right? So drawbacks of this choice, well, I'm going to get an in-house person to do this, so it's going to be harder, maybe higher cost. And really, if you do it in-house, is that really showing initiative? Or maybe it's creating a little fiefdom for yourself. We need to know, and we need to understand that people often will employ other people just to be more important. And we've seen that a lot in the large corporates that I've worked for and worked with and tried to sell to, is that they are often happy to employ people so they seem more important. So then how do you solve those problems without drawbacks? So automation control. So you go through that, really write it out in long form. This is often a very, very, this phone call, for me to just fill this one of these out, it's like an hour and a half of me drilling with the customer, working with the customer to really drill down and get into it. By doing that, that really gives us incredible insight into what where these people actually are. And then this is, once again, the raw material for your next marketing campaign or next social post even. Once you know this, you're actually way better off. So your marketing mix. More paddles in the water make you go faster. Just think about it. If there's only one paddler here, you might get a little bit of momentum, but boy, oh boy, it'd be a slow, tedious and grindy circle. And that's what most people's marketing is like. They go, you know what, we're going to do social posts or email or LinkedIn outreach or whatever it might be. It's one-legged. It's only doing one thing. And you might get some leads out of that. But if you had more things happening, But in the same line, you don't want to say have one message on LinkedIn and one message on email, because once again, you've got paddlers, great, but they're paddling in different directions. That'd be chaos as well. You want to make sure everybody's lined up. We know who we are, what we represent, the value we bring to our particular target customer, and then we all paddle that way. So your marketing mix this time, in relation to your market, less is more. Fewer people, narrower market. The more narrow you can be, the more honed in you can be on the individual you need to sell to. Now, more is more. You get a few more things, few more irons in the fire, paddles in the water. You need to be able to make sure that they can find you. Think about how you bought the last thing you bought, whether it be even a computer mouse. You didn't just probably go, well, I need another one, and just bought the first one you saw. If you did, you're probably low on time, and you're probably in the minority. Most people go, oh, what's a good one? Is it Logitech? Is it Microsoft? Is it whatever it might be? If you're a gamer, that's more important. My son's a gamer. Mouse is very important. But modern buyers are going to look you up. They are going to find you. They will look you up. They'll look at your website. They'll look at your YouTube. They will look at your socials. They might not like, comment, share, mix in your socials. And you might find that your socials have very little impact in relation to likes, comments, and shares. But you know what? If they weren't there, people can go, well, I looked at their business page and there doesn't seem to be a lot of action there. And are these guys really real? So you still need to keep slightly active. I'm not saying it's a lot, once a week. Put something up once a week that can be distributed across 3 or 4 platforms that is somewhat insightful, and somebody who in your target customer's mind goes, oh, that's good, that's interesting, that's useful. Less than 10% will put their hand up without being asked. Think about it once again. Very few people are just going to show up and buy if you don't ask them to, or if you don't, ask them on email or website, landing page, or advert, or face-to-face. So here is a typical marketing mix. Let me just move that over there. Yeah. So if you think of this like a funnel, unaware is everybody, then a much smaller piece of the market understands the problem. I'm on the left-hand side here. Then a much smaller part of the market are seeking solutions. A much smaller market are comparing solutions, and the smallest part are deciding. In the market at any one time, if you've got a million people, if you've got a wide market, you might find that 1 or 2% people are actually in the market right now. So they might be in the seeking, comparing, and deciding space. So we want to, marketing is not about finding interest, it's about developing interests. And that's another key area, is you need to be good at developing interest in what you do. Because if they actually had an interest in what you do, they would have already bought it. Or they'd be looking right now and thinking about is A or B better? So unaware. So, this is just an example. And what's a burning question in that person's mind? Who can tell me more about this issue I've heard about? Well, they've got to hear about the issue first, but who can tell me more? Then you're going to have an infographic, a blog post, or a white paper. Now, a really great way to distribute that stuff, once again, LinkedIn, email, advertising. Get this information out. And just so for CIOs of logistics companies, I'm picking on that, just made it up. For CIOs of logistics companies, here are the 3 things that are, way that logistics companies are bleeding money in the technology space and what to do about it. Somebody might go, oh, that's, I'll read that. Or, the ego says, I'll read that because I'm right and I already know what this person's going to tell me. Or I'll read that, I am open and interested. So they're still going to read it. And the thing is, by them reading it, you've captured their email. You've captured their interest. You've captured their eyeball. And they know that you exist, because you know what? You can't sell a secret. That one was there for you, Jen. I know you like me saying that. So Jen's still here. So unaware. So blog posts, white papers, infographics. Understand. So I understand the problem. Now I'll watch your video. I'll read your ebook. And that could be a problem-solving guide. Now I'm seeking solutions. I've got a data sheet. I need to really get into and a use case. Now, a use case is different to a case study. A use case is, this is how government organizations use our technology. A case study is this is how this government organization solved their problem. Now, use cases are really great. For example, when you can't mention names. So I've worked with a lot of businesses who can't mention the giant corporate beast that they work with, or they can't discuss the state government that they're working with. But you can allude. You can say this is how this state government solved this problem. It's probably not a giant leap to figure out which one it is, seeing as they're already in that state. So yeah, and they've probably got their logo somewhere in their marketing material. Feature comparisons, valuable, right? If you're selling a SaaS product, know who your competitors are. Tell the world your competitors just aren't as good as you. And of course, proposals. Your proposal is not just a list of stuff you're going to do. It's a list of results they're going to get. And make sure there's a framework and a structure there. And CTOs and CFOs love a good ROI calculator, because they're not going to get into the weeds of how good your technology is, but they will look at the ROI calculator and go, yep, I can justify this. All right, so have a think about who you're going to sell to, because a sale is a relay race. The person you initially think about think about top 3 or 4 great customers you've got right now. You're all on B2B. Think about your top 3 customers. What's their names? Think about their names. Okay, so of those people you just thought of, the faces that popped into your mind, those 3 people, they're probably not likely to be the person you first dealt with there. Some cases might be, but they're probably you might have been contacted by a project manager a project manager grabbed some of your information. The PM sent it to the state manager or the person higher up, and then eventually got to the CEO or the CTO if they've got budget. Now, if you think about that, if you say, well, we sell to CTOs, if you in the previous conversation thinking of ways I've asked you to think, oh, we only sell to CTOs, well, that might be the person that signs the check, but they're not the person reading your info. They might eventually read your info once you get down to the nitty gritty stuff, but the CTO is probably not caring about your infographic. So think about the relay race of project manager to program manager, all the way through to the CTO. You need content that actually speaks to each one of those people's needs, wants, and desires. All right, let's carry on. So what is currently generating leads right now? Okay, so we're working currently with about a dozen different software and technology businesses, Australia, UK, New Zealand. This is what's working right now. Now, you don't need to do all of it. Good news is, remember the old saying, you can have it, good, fast, and cheap. Pick 2. And I've actually said that to a customer because they wanted it both good, fast, and cheap, and said, look, you can pick 2, and that created a conversation and a good quality long-term customer. But of course, I needed to bring that person back under control. And not that they were out of control. I just wanted to make sure they understood what they're getting into. So it's not one thing. Got to get some more paddles in the water. So what are the 3? What are they? Oh, by the way, non-negotiable. Email. Build an email list. Seriously. I was talking with an Outback Theatre owner while I was on holidays. He found out we were marketing. We're chatting about stuff. I said, tell me about your email list. Don't have one. I said, okay, need to build one. Everybody that comes through needs to capture their email address, because how do you get return business without telling them what you do? Once again, people's busy lives take over. They're doing things. They're not going to remember that you exist unless you tell them you exist. So non-negotiable for anybody here. B2B, B2C, doesn't matter what you're doing. Build an email list, please. If there's nothing else you get from this conversation today, build an email list and send them information every now and then. All right. So, outreach. What does outreach look like? You've got to get in front of people, and you're going to get in front of people like LinkedIn's an amazing tool. Everybody needs to sign up to Sales Navigator. I should be on commission for these guys, but everybody needs to sign up to Sales Navigator and use it properly. If you're not going to use it, don't obviously sign up for it. Call, walk in. I've got one customer so motivated to get sales that they actually have their GM of their business and their one of their developers, their chief developer, walking into stores. Guess what? They're selling. But 90% of people go, oh, I don't want to do it. It's too hard, too busy, blah, blah, blah. You know what? If you're too busy to go see a customer, yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, it's unfun, but they're the ones making the sales. And you know this is true. Probably a bit uncomfortable, but you walking into people and seeing it is actually, you got to get in front of people. I'm sorry. That's I'm not really sorry. LinkedIn. You can get in front of people by messaging them, having a genuine human conversation first. Don't go in with how many of you got right now, and I bet you all have. You get the connection request and you go, yep. And the first thing they send you is a 2-page thing of all the different skills they have and their price. Terrible. It's a terrible way to interact. Don't try to sell me the first time. It's like being in a bar and somebody is walking up and say, hey, do you want to get married and have kids? Well, not very many people would say yes. And if they did say yes, you got to wonder what's going on there. So you want to be able to, have a coffee. You want to have a conversation first. You want to see if you're a good fit, because if you're not a good fit, it's going to be bad for everybody. Once again, that's C for convenient client. They're going to be all colors of bad. Advertising. You've got to get in front of your target client and build awareness. There you go, Jen. You can't sell a secret. I haven't put it in the slide. So if your target customers don't know you exist, how can they buy from you? It's impossible. Partnerships, industry publications, and non-competitive allies. Right. So there's a lot going on here. Non-competitive allies. I had one customer who was selling phone systems. I'm going to keep it really broad. They wanted to partner with people who already were selling to their market. They went ahead and started partnering with managed service providers, showing those managed service providers how they can make more money by doing very little extra work. They did training, and you know what? They started getting sales. They've repositioned their business, made those managed service providers look really good, made a lot of money, made a lot of sales. Non-competitive allies. Right now, write down 2 or 3 people who sell to your customers that you're not competing against. That is a great way to find people you can co-market with. Industry publications. We have a customer in the farming sector. We found a few industry publications. We offered some articles every month or so. We get an invitation to provide an article for free. There's still people out there looking for information, and that customer is receiving leads every month for free because that publication wants more relevant, interesting information to go out there. It's once again, people are sitting there going, yeah, I know. Well, do it. To know and not to do it is still not yet to know. I think Confucius said that. Somebody said that. Well, I just did. So build a profile. Offer to do talks to industry, and I'm here entertaining myself. So build a profile. Offer to do talks to industry and networking groups. When I came back from having a year off, I sold a company, took a year off, lived in Bali, came back. I was invited back by a person to help fix their sales and marketing machine. And then I thought, well, now I'm a consultant. What do I do? Over the course of about 13, 14 months, I did about 35 different talks to networking groups. I put together half a dozen slides, put together a talk, practiced it, went out there and did it. And in doing that, sometimes I did it to 5 people. That's weird, right? I got a big slide thing with a projector and clicking through and asking questions and doing it the dog and pony show to 5 people. But you know what? That gave me a really good practice, and I got business out of it. I got good at it. People knew me. Hundreds of people knew me within a very short amount of time that I actually did what I did. Got out there, offered to do it for free. Grant Cardone, current billionaire, managing more than $1 billion worth of real estate. If you want to see somebody who's the epitome of rah, go out there and, just get amongst it, is Grant Cardone. His book is called The 10X Rule. If you think if you want to do something, do 10 times more. He's nuts. But he did 1,000 free talks to start his business. Okay. So there are some people who want to be billionaires and grow from 0 to $1 billion. And that's how he did it. He's done that now, 1,000 free talks. And he just walked into people cold. He walked in, said, I'd like to do a sales meeting for your sales room. and for free. And if you don't like it, kick me out. Yeah, pretty powerful stuff. Anyway, build your profile and free resources, free webinars, free white papers. What am I doing now? I'm adding significant value based on 23 years of doing sales and marketing. I'm trying to help you all. You ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. That's what we're doing here. We want white papers, industry guides, be knowledgeable, be seen, get known. Then people will know, like, and trust you. Build your email list as well, non-negotiable. Okay, so now that you've got leads and you've got all this content, you're putting it out there in the marketplace, you're generating leads. Now you've got to build a sales script, because you know why? And everybody here's probably goes, "Oh, I hate sales scripts. I don't want to sound like a robot." Nobody ever won an Oscar without a script. De Niro, Pacino, DiCaprio will have a script. I guarantee you that, hands down. They get paid $20 million for a couple of months' work. Now, if you're getting paid $20 million for a couple of months' work, you probably know you need a script. And if you're not, you need a script. So let's get into it. This is you need a sales script, but not this guy's script. Yeah, sure, DiCaprio. But we don't want you to be, and you don't want to be, manipulating people. You don't want to be showing off. You don't want to be squeezing grannies for their final $2. That's not what we're about. That's, most people have this perception about salespeople, by the way. So this is not this guy's script, right? So what is a script? What is a sales script? Because your best needs to occur every single time you talk to a customer. You might have just got in late. It's cold. You've pranged your car. Things happen. Kids don't want to. Kids forget their saxophone, and you got to drive back. Stuff happens, right, in the world. You've got to get on that sales call. You've got to be your best on that spot. And people say, "Oh, well, I just talk to customers and help them out." It's not good enough. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not good enough. This is the anatomy of a sales script. The anatomy of a sales script, it's a formula for change. Most of you people are in technical world. I write it technically. I know my market. So D times V plus FS has got to be greater than R. So dissatisfaction, their dissatisfaction about their current state, not you telling them that their current state is no good. You've got to think about their current state. They've got to think about their current state, the vision of the future, the first steps. Oh, how do we make this easy? It's got to be greater than the resistance. So you've got to make sure that everything they say is true and correct. Everything you say is questionable, because you're trying to sell them something. Get them to tell you about why it's so hard, what they've done in the past, why it's not working for them. Then you can be informed enough to give some recommendations. The diagnosis, I guess medicine without diagnosis is malpractice. So you've got to diagnose the issue first. Where does it hurt? How often does it hurt? Why do you think it hurts? What have you done to solve that hurt? That person now has kicked their own bruise enough to go, yep, this person knows enough about my situation to be able to help. So once again, right down into the nitty gritty. So high level stuff, nitty gritty time. This is your sales script process, the sales stages. Now I'm looking at the time. It's 1:15. I am running over. I do get carried away, but we're right in the guts of it now. This is the important stuff. Set expectations. So, John, thanks for taking the time today. This is how these calls usually go. So typically, I'm going to ask a few questions. I'd really like to understand your situation and where you want to be in the future. Is that okay? Boom. Take control and be a professional. You've done this before. Take control. Now, if you go, "How are you going? How can I help?" Then they're going to start asking you questions. And if they ask you questions, you're out of control, and you're going to be finding yourself you're behind the 8 ball right from the start. The person who asks the questions is in control. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time. The person that asks the question is in control. Understanding. So, John, what prompted you to take the time today to talk to me? Now, seems like an easy and obvious question, but you want to get them to tell you, "Oh, my marketing sucks." How do you mean? Or my reports loading. I've got a KPI. The reports in our system loading in 2 seconds, and they're currently loading in 3 minutes. Okay, how does that affect the business? And how does that affect you? How often does it happen? What have you done to fix it? Really important stuff. Because if you say, "Oh, well, give it more RAM," I'm giving you, anybody who's in technical world is going to start flipping out because I'm giving you weird and very vague answers. But I think hopefully you get the idea. You want to get them to kick their own brews, because you saying, "Oh, so you're probably not loading it. You need to do this, that, and the other." They're not idiots. Probably not idiots. They've probably tried to do some things. So you got to understand what they've tried to do, because if you start recommending things they've already done, then they're going to say this person is just going to be more of the same. I don't want more of the same. I want different. Understand what they've done and don't recommend stuff that they've already done. Summarize and play back. So what I'm hearing is you having this problem, and these are the things that have occurred, and you've tried this and tried that. Okay, so um, then you want to set an understanding. So once we've solved this, what will it look like? So you want to create desire. Once again, they are doing it. Oh, if you say, "Oh, well, once the reports are loading in 2 seconds, or once you've got distributed information across your business, it's going to be amazing. Everybody will be happy. Kumbaya, holding hands." That's irrelevant because you said that. But if they say that, that's true and correct and absolute. You're absolutely right. Everybody be holding hands would be fantastic. So just so I understand, once again, play it back to them. What will it look like once we've solved this issue? Set a future state of happiness. Get them to do it. You setting it, irrelevant. They need to set the future state of happiness. They have to define what their future state is. Ask permission to share. Okay, so from what I understand is this, this, and this. You've done all this. Okay, do you mind if I tell you a little bit about what we do? Of course, they're going to say yes, because they just spent 15, 20 minutes talking. And then you say, "Well, look, John, people buy from me when?" And that's an amazing way of presenting your business. It's probably the best thing I can teach is people buy from me when. But people buy from me when they want to scale their technology business and generate greater number of sales and leads, because they've tried a lot and they want to really ramp up their business. And then, of course, I'm remembering that they've told me that they've tried to do this, tried to do that, tried to do this. I know that they're in software and technology, and I know they want to scale because they've just told me. And if I can help, I will tell them. People buy from me when that. We want to tie to their situation and have them see themselves achieving what they want. Okay. Then you want to break it down. So this is how we do that. We look at your market, we look at your message, we look at your how often you're sending the information out, and we look at your sales. And we obviously, I'm going to give you a bit more detail if you actually are in a sales conversation. But essentially, here are the 4 steps that we're going to go through to help you achieve X. High level coverage, demonstrate know-how with know-how. Ask for questions. Give short answers focused on high level benefits, and then question the question. The question is not why, but, "Oh, do you guys use SQL?" The answer is not yes or no, because that could be a setup. They might hate SQL, or they might not want to spend $1 million on SQL, or whatever. They might not have SQL. That's a setup, might be a setup question, might not be, might be genuine curiosity. So the answer is, "Look, John, we've got a number of ways of solving the problem. What we'd like to do normally is go through a process of discovery first. But let me ask you, so is there a reason? Do you love SQL? Do you not want to use SQL? How's that look?" "Oh, no, we love SQL." "Okay, rightio. Look, if we could find a way to solve the problem using Postgres or any other piece of technology out there, would you be against that?" Okay. That little stack there I've just given you would be millions of dollars worth of value, because imagine if they said, "We have SQL, but but you find out that they have to have SQL, and you start recommending Postgres because it's better, faster, and cheaper." Or, and if I've got the technology landscape wrong, I don't think I have, but let me know. But don't get stuck in the weeds. Do you go do it in blue? We've got a number of ways of representing it. Is blue something you want? I had one customer say to me, because I was representing a business, um, "Yeah, do you guys have Meraki switches?" That's a Cisco thing for network shaping. I said, "Look, we've got a number. We've got a number of ways of managing network connectivity. Know what it does. Managing network connectivity, and shaping the network. Is having a Meraki switch important to you?" He goes, "Oh, no, I heard about it on the weekend." I said, "Okay. Well, we know that those switches are like thousands of dollars. We can solve it with a Logitech one, much cheaper and better. And they're a preferred supplier of ours. So question to question without being combative. Recommendations and first step. Look, John, most people at this stage do this. Okay. You want to show them how they're going to get there and reduce the impact and cognitive load. If you get them, if they got to think too hard, they're not going to. People are lazy generally. And so you want to make sure that you guide them by giving them an easy answer. All the way through, you've been a professional. You've not jammed them up with anything. And say, this is the logical the next step. And then you want to book a meeting. Take control of how you're going to book the next meeting or send the proposal. So, John, I'm going to send this proposal out to you by close of business today, just so I can work with your timelines. When do you think it would be reasonable for me to hear back from you? Really important stuff. If you do that well, then you're going to know when they're going to hear back from you, when you're going to hear back from them. You've given them a job, because if you say, I'm going to send you a proposal, I'll follow you up next week, all the jobs are yours. They're going to go, receive proposal, 15 pages. I'll get to that. Busy life. They pick up the phone when you call. Shit, I haven't done that. Oh, goodness, I haven't done that yet. They don't answer the call. And they go, and then you follow them up. And then you start becoming that follow-up salesperson. They started resenting you because they resent themselves for not doing the thing they sort of vaguely said they were going to do, but they didn't really say they were going to do it. It's bad news. Take control. Understand. I've done this, and people said, "Oh, actually, I'm going away next week." So anyway, so you don't want to bog yourself down. Roadblock Finder. Roadblock Finder. This is directly out of one of my tools. This is tool number 5 that I use with clients, and you can download for free if you want this tool. If you actually want any of these tools, just email me and I'll send them. What are the stages of your sales and marketing process? Get them down, understand what they are, put percentages against them. Now you know where you need to improve. Simple stuff. So in this particular situation, they opt in for a web resource. They enter the email campaign, they request a call or a meeting, they attend a call, they want a product demo, they ask for a proposal. What's your sales process? Have you written it down? Do that now. Or not now, but do that. Do that when you can. All right. What's next? So what's next is I want to actually really work with some businesses that are interested in scaling their sales, their sales and marketing in the software and technology space. It's only for software and technology people. And so this is what I want to do. Let me use your business as a case study. I want to apply my knowledge to your business and then promote it as a success story. Why would I do that? Well, I get to show the world that I can do it again and again and again following my machine. You get the benefit of sales marketing and profit. Should hopefully a bit of a no-brainer. So it's the Tech Sales Accelerator. That's the name of the course. It's 6 weeks, weekly topics, and one-on-one sessions. And from there, what we're going to do is we're going to design your sales and marketing playbook. How are you actually going to go about getting sales and marketing over the course of the next couple of years? We're going to get absolutely clear on what to do and how to do it. We're going to get multiple sales appointments and close them. Because I'm working with you one-on-one, you're going to say, I've got this particular deal. How do I work with it? We're going to talk about these things live. You say, okay, this is how you want to do it. This is the email you want to send. And we're going to fill your pipeline. That's the goal. Pretty simple. What have people said? I've done this before. What have people said? I'm not going to make you read all of this, but joining the Tech Talk case study program was a no-brainer. The one-on-one sessions were really valuable. They reinforced the content of the webinars and served as an opportunity to get into the nuts and bolts of the tech sales process from a perspective of my business. The one-on-one session was hugely helpful. So then we went on, go on to say Matthew provided both specific and holistic advice to help me give perspective on what I needed to tweak on my overall sales process to accelerate sales growth for the business. The program has given me the tools I need to take my business to the next level. That's Varkeeson. Oops. So another one, Brad. Just had my first MSP meeting today. They booked in a meeting from a script that video we wrote. So I'll help you write the script. It went very well. We'll keep you posted. I would never have marketed my products and services in such clarity if it wasn't for you. Nice thing to say. And also, Judd, if you're in the tech If you're in tech and you need help with sales and marketing, I recommend this event. Matthew is the only person I met that can coordinated sales and marketing together for tech businesses. His deep knowledge and plain speaking are also deep knowledge and plain speaking. He's also good for many laughs. Well, that's nice of him to say. So what's next? I'd like to talk to you if that's of interest. So let's talk. What is your sales and marketing path of least resistance? It's about making it easy and a procedural machine. So a growth catalyst session. So what we do is 30 minutes sales and marketing review. If by the end of that, I'll invite you to be part of the session. If it's something that you believe, or we both believe, is going to be beneficial over time, you've got the time. It's going to take 6 weeks of one-on-one calls, not every day, once a week, and then we'll give you some recommendations. That session there, and what people have said is overall in those sessions, they do get quite a bit of value, because I'm going to say, well, look at this, think about that, let's get into it. Because I've only worked in software and technology across dozens of businesses and industries simultaneously. I've got a pretty good idea of what your business is currently doing and where the tweaks might need to occur. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any questions, I'm more than happy to talk more. I have gone a little bit over time. If not, I'll just close the session out. Once I close the session out, you'll be directed to a web page that will allow you to book in a session with me, a 30-minute session. Do take that up if you want me to. If you've got specific questions that you need to have answered, think about the most challenging thing in your sales and marketing. But for now, people are thanking me. I appreciate that. Here's to your success. Thank you very much for your time today. Look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.